How are we doing? And most importantly, how are we feeling? That's a question I ask myself as life for us has dramatically changed over the last year. The ongoing pandemic, physical distancing, isolation, closure of schools and workplaces are affecting our lifestyles in many ways that it almost have an impact on what we want to do, where we want to be, and who we want to be with. It's quite natural that we all feel uncertain, stressed and lonely during this time. And I thought it's good to talk to someone about how we feel and what we can do to make us feel better. Hello and welcome to NDH. My name is Champa Samaraveera. Today my guest is a counseling psychologist from Mind Hills, a personality development and a public speaking coach. Please join me in welcoming Rasini Bandara. Thank you, Rasini, for joining us today. Let me start the session by asking you my first question. How are you feeling and how are you dealing with this uncertainty? And is it just right that we don't feel normal and hypervigilant?
Thank you so much, Champa, for actually connecting me and inviting Mind Hills to be a part of this program. Well, if I am to answer the question, how am I feeling? I think pretty much Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's statement sums up everything so perfectly. I'm not okay, you're not okay, but that's absolutely okay. Well, I think we as individuals are in a situation like this. COVID-19 pandemic has not spared any of us, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of your social status or the work you're involved in, your profession. I think all of us as individuals, we are affected by this situation. And at the same time, a lot of people, think that, just because you are a mental health care professional and you are in this field, you might be having everything together. And let me tell you, when I had to face this, I think the psychology I know kind of flew right out of the window. I myself struggled a lot with it because, I have never got any formal education to how to face a pandemic 101 or, how to face a pandemic for dummies. I've never read a book of that sort. So it was so very new to all of us. And I think it's absolutely normal that, people were feeling hypervigilant about it and, they were building up anxiety and also, developing phobias. Considering like going out and mingling with people. And they started demonstrating anger a lot, frustrations, and concentration issues. All these things, I would say, if people come and tell me I'm experiencing these things, I would say that you are absolutely normal to go through those things, because the thing is, like, fundamentally what we should look into is the fact that we are all human, and humans experience these kind of things and emotions. So at this moment we are actually in an emotional cocktail, you can say. So battling on. Every day is a challenge. Every day brings a new challenge. Whether it's being hypervigilant about your kids' health, or else like it's being worried about your parents, or it's worrying about your own health. And worrying about when schools and universities, all these things are going to start, when are we properly getting an opportunity to socialize. So all these things are big issues and big problems, but moving on in life.
Even though that the times are different, there is lots going around us, but yet we are expected to deliver and be ourselves. So what kind of motivational advice would you give us to set ourselves for the day?
Well, yes, even though the pandemic is happening in one end and impacting our lifestyle and our routine every day, we have to move on. Like I mentioned earlier, we cannot be thinking of the fact that we are in a particular standstill, that we are not moving. No, we are moving. The world is moving differently than how it used to. So I would say some motivational tips, of course. Generally, I think making peace with the idea why such measures are necessary, I think will actually solve about 50% of your problem. See, stress, I always say that it is a very normal reaction that is coming from your body to a threatening or a challenging situation. It's very normal. It's healthy too. I mean, it's fight or flight. Whether you, I mean, long time back, I mean, the hunters and the gatherers. So it was more of like you fight with the challenge or else you run from it. So that is how the body is pretty much prepared. But the thing is, nowadays, every little situation or threatening situation is considered as something that boosts up stress in individuals. So stress, I would say, is actually perceived stress. It's not that all of us, we face a certain situation and our reaction is the same. So it's the way we actually look at a situation. So looking at that, I think something we should understand is that it's always the way you see it. So if you change your mind to see it as something that you sometimes cannot control everything that happens under the sun. So certain things you need to let go, certain things you need to understand that, look, there is a certain part that I have to do as an individual and there's a certain part I cannot. So at this moment, I think about the worst case scenario. What can happen to you if you do not take all these measures, take care of yourself, and be very rebellious about it and go out and all that? It's that, it might affect your life. So life matters. You need to stay alive to do anything, to study, to work, to achieve your dreams, everything. So therefore, I think if you make peace with the idea that at this moment, what I need to do is take care of myself, because my life and the lives of my loved ones is what matters to me. I think that solves 50% of your problem. Other than that, I think if you go back to Darwin's theory, Darwin says that, survival of the fittest. So the species who adopt to change are the ones who survive. So, true that things are not as how they used to, but still you can actually practice adaptability. You can make it a practice and make it a habit in your life. True that education is different. True, we have to learn online, but still we are learning online. We are not, just on a standstill. We are moving. So that is something you can think. And then at the same time, true that maybe you were not very positive about technology, but the thing is, that's going to be the new normal in the future. So learn to adapt into situations like that. True that you cannot connect to people like how you used to, but still you are able to connect to them at least through a video call. So these are some of the things I think we as individuals need to practice. And I think one of the other things that will really help you to recover from this process is that having the practice of gratitude as your best attitude. I think there are so many things that we complain in life, but at the same time there are so many things we can truly be appreciative of life. And those are some of the things that you should focus. I mean, starting from that you are gifted with a beating heart until this very moment. You have a pair of lungs that's perfectly working, body parts and all those things. I mean, if you make a list of all those things that you can be grateful, I think the list of complaints you have will be much lesser. So these are some of the things that you can pretty much adopt into, make your mentality see things in a very optimistic way. So other than that, there are various other things. Shampa, I can tell you, how you can get pretty much a routine to yourself, and then physical workouts, getting into things like adult coloring, which will actually give you a sort of a distraction at the same time, which will be very beneficial to you. So many things you can do. If you seek, you'll absolutely find answers.
What can people do to maintain mental hygiene?
So what can people do to maintain mental hygiene? I would say your physical fitness has a greater impact on your mental well-being also. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, so few things: accountability, adaptability, and being optimistic, and then being very appreciative and practice gratitude. Other than those things, I think physical exercise essential. Make sure that you keep moving, because that will make sure that it releases a lot of stress relieving hormones. It's really good for you. Adequate sleep is essential. I know a lot of people, their sleep patterns have gone for a 6. So sleep is essential because sleep is like your anti-aging component. It releases melatonin. That's absolutely positive for you. And other than that, I would say practice good eating habits. Do not consume food just because your fridge is full of food. And also I would say read books, physical books, which is really good. And something that we are pretty much aware these days, we are constantly on screen time. So try to minimize that as much as possible. Engage in family activities. I mean, things like board games like Monopoly, Scrabble, and all those things as a family. Those are things that actually can bring you together as well. Involve in things like adult coloring, which has so many positive effects on you. I mean, it works as meditation for individuals. Reach out to friends and reach out to even a professional to speak to vent out what is happening in your life. I mean, it's always good to talk to somebody to get a different perspective about life. So there are so many things, learn a new art or a skill, learn maybe a new workout style, and at the same time engage in a lot of workshops and all these activities that is happening online. You can gain so much of knowledge. I think every time I kind of sit down for a webinar or something, I think it's more like a complete new learning experience for me. And for example, today I sat for a webinar and then I learned a great deal about the vaccination process. So some of the things that I couldn't make sense earlier. So these things, I think, there are so many things that you can pretty much do. Spend time with your loved ones, because who has a guarantee of tomorrow? I think live the moment, have that attitude. I mean, stop worrying about the past and then stop being fearful about the future. I mean, you can absolutely enjoy this very moment.
When it comes to mental health, people get labeled unfairly, and to be honest, the society is bombarded with a lot of misconceptions. So what sort of help is out there for people to reach out to?
Well, it's a funny thing that whenever we speak about the topic psychology or mental health, people has this ability to connect it completely to a mental asylum. And that is something I see very negative, among people. I mean, regarding the attitude factor. So a lot of people think that you are insane if you decide that you need help. But let me tell you, you are the most sanest person if you feel like you need help, because you are mindful that you have a problem. And that is the attitude we should have. And also, I know for a fact that a lot of people connect to me not because they are going through some sort of a problem in life. A lot of people connect to me just because they want to see a different perspective, see life in a different perspective. So it's not always paired up with a problem. So I think I myself, I have reached out to therapists when things were overwhelming for me, I mean, in life, and when I was going through a lot of issues and problems in life. I think it's something that we should pretty much normalize as humans. And at the same time, I would tell people to embrace the emotional struggles that they are going through. I mean, being vocal about your emotions will not make you less of a man or more of a woman, because a lot of women, they think, oh yeah, we need to express our emotional side, and you see it as such a negative thing when men express their emotions. You see it as lack of personality, and it is absolutely not. I think that pretty much establishes only one thing, that you are human. So these are some of the things that we should understand as humans. And I think Mind Heals is also a platform as such. We started off with the initiative that with the whole concept that any individual can reach out to anybody at any given time. So we are, other than providing one-to-one counseling, we are trying to actually get that mentality right and spread the right kind of awareness regarding mental health, because there's a lot of labeling happening nowadays. Even depression is considered as something like a very trendy factor to have. If you are not depressed as a teenager, you are not qualified to be a teenager. So we are just trying to address these issues and things, and normalize the factor that people should prioritize mental health, just like they prioritize physical health. And that is something, I think, that is a learning that such pandemic times pretty much has given us, and I think we should absolutely utilize it. So I would like to thank Champa and at the same time this foundation for giving an opportunity to me, to Mind Heals team, to actually address some of the things that's very close to my heart, and something that I keep on acknowledging people and educating people about. I think mental health should be a topic that should be something that's very comfortable for people to talk to. It should be something that's effortless. It should be something that should trend among people. So thank you again for the opportunity given, and looking forward to connect with you all once again. Thank you so much.
And that brings our session to an end. Thank you very much again, Rasini, for taking time to talk to us. If anyone watching this program is affected by any mental health issues, or you're not just feeling right or uncertain or depressed about anything, it could be anything, just talk to us and we will ensure that we will get the help that you need. You can use our Facebook, Instagram and YouTube channels to talk to us, but we will reply you using our private channels. So until we meet again, have a good day and you stay safe.